Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome to the bonus show. Cash money. Do we need it? David never has cash on him. I find it to be an annoyance, really, when people never have any cash on them.
I do a better job now of, if I only have a few bucks, I get $40 out of the ATM and try to have two $20 bills in my wallet. It's usually useless though, because what I usually need it for, I've told this insane story of all the circumstances in which you need to tip in New York, but I need ones to tip when I get my car out of the parking garage. So tip the valet guy. So that having two 20s in my wallet is something I'm doing now, but it's rarely actually useful.
Yeah. Well, if you lived in Denmark, you might be thrilled to hear that, that Denmark is hoping to boost their economy by eliminating cash altogether. And I think we have discussed this before when it was just an idea or there were just whispers of it. But now there have been a set of 50 proposals from the Ministry of Finance in Denmark that are really aimed at just getting rid of cash altogether. And so this current set of proposals would allow gas stations, clothing stores, and restaurants the option to stop taking cash payments. Now, the idea is, of course, that cash, first of all, can be stolen, that there would be a reduction in crime, that businesses would no longer need to focus as heavily on security and cameras and those cash transactions. They also would not need to handle the cash and deposit it and do all of those annoying things and transport it, which of course they might be paying for. And I guess, it would just speed things up, right? I mean, if everyone is using some type of digital means of transfer, then things could be sped up. So far, do you agree with all of this?
Yeah, I don't disagree generally with moving away from cash. Cash has a bunch of problems. Cash can be counterfeit. Cash can be lost. When you buy something with cash and there's no refund policy, what recourse do you have? Whereas with a credit card, you have the ability to file a chargeback if the credit card provides you an extended return policy or warranty. I mean, there's just so many reasons to get away from cash, although I still recognize why in much of the world, cash is still king. Yes.
Imagine if there were legislation like this proposed in this country. Imagine what would Glenn Beck do if all of a sudden, you couldn't have cash or gold all of a sudden didn't make as much sense to have because everything has gone to a digital system. I mean, it would be rough. So there are still, of course, like I said, this only affects certain types of businesses, but ultimately they want to move away from this. I guess this is the first step in the experiment. And of course, it costs money to print and use cash. There's a small graph here that says essentially the cost of cash and how that is, what percentage of your GDP that actually is. And there's a list of countries. The United States, I guess this cost accounts for 0.47% of our GDP. And I guess that's pretty substantial, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just the cost of using cash accounts for all of that. In Russia, 1.1%. That is, that's kind of a big effing deal. That's pretty substantial. As low as 0.1% in Finland. I guess this might change based on population, of course. But maybe not. The entire European Union, 0.45%, according to this. So, Anyway, that's what's going on in Denmark. It is an interesting experiment. And
I am in favor of this. If people are, I would love to hear from people if you're against the move away from cash, why you're against that move.
Yeah. Cash can be very, very convenient. Can you imagine in a completely cashless economy what panhandlers would do? I mean, what would you do if there were just no more cash?
I've seen some panhandlers that accept credit cards already, so I don't know.
You have?
Yeah, they have they have Square on their phone. It's that little card swiping thing, and you can swipe the money.
Wow. things are ramping up in New York City, I suppose. They don't have that here in Austin yet. They're a little bit behind the times. Anyway, here's a disturbing story. There's this A&E show that I've never heard of called 8 Minutes, and the show claims to rescue sex workers from their lives of danger and abuse. They set up what seems like they make it seem like there's a John who arranges to meet a sex worker, and they arrive there, and there's this television team. But the sex workers have claimed that they were set up to appear on the show, and they're not actually surprised.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
I the first thing I thought was just about every one of these shows is staged, and I assume this one is too.
Yeah. And I guess the reason it's called 8 Minutes is because the host or the person talking to them has 8 minutes to try and get them to change their lives, and then they leave together and everyone lives happily ever after. Because after 8 minutes, there's a danger involved, something ridiculous like that. But not only have many of these sex workers come out and said that this is just kind of a sham, they said that they have not been getting the assistance that they were promised by the show's producers. The show has promised things like getting jobs, finding housing, in one case, getting out of jail. And these stories are pretty incredible. According to one sex worker, a producer from 8 Minutes called her and said that she'd get assistance leaving the sex industry, finding a job, and she'd get housing. They also promised medical and dental care. And this is, I guess, when all was said and done, the team gave her $200, dropped her off at her car, said they'd contact her the next day, and just basically never talk to her again.
Yeah, so there's 2 points of view, right? One is they really should be doing what they're offering because it's a reality show. The other is reality shows aren't real, so they should just think that they're getting paid $200 to appear as actors and then forget about it, right? You could make either argument based on how we define a reality show.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop there. After they appear on this show, that alerts law enforcement to their existence, and depending on if their faces are blurred or not, they will also know what they look like and the names they use. And after this woman dealt with the show, she was given an eviction notice, had to put up another ad for sex work. A police officer pretending to be a John contacted her, and she was arrested and jailed. And she started doing all of this because her family, her husband, has health issues. She has health issues. And they have a kid, and maybe at least one kid, and they needed to do this out of economic necessity. And it doesn't stop there. There are a couple more stories here. The law enforcement part of this is crazy. That that law enforcement is using this show as an opportunity to bust some people that, I guess it could be argued aren't doing any harm. So have you seen the show? I mean, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I've seen a few minutes of it. I saw it on TV, and I was so bored by it, honestly, that I flipped away after, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah. Well, there was another sex worker named Jade, and according to the site, the producers promised to blur her face. They didn't. And now her landlord, clients, and the police know all about what she does. Donna, another sex worker who appeared on the show, believes that she was misled by producers. She told BuzzFeed that the producers told her husband to pose as her pimp, and that she thought she would be given assistance after the show. All they gave her was the phone number of a counselor. So this is what A&E is doing.
Horrible.
Yep, just another business as usual, I think, in the reality TV industry.
Yeah, sadly.
Crazy stuff. On a lighter note, the Floyd Mayweather fight that we discussed on the regular show, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, they fought. It was the biggest boxing match in history, and funny at a time when boxing has never been so what's the word? I guess unimportant. I mean, it's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
I think boxing is pretty much done. The big fights still have a lot of money around them, but how many big fights are there? pretty much only when Pacquiao and Mayweather are fighting, and they're getting old. But I didn't watch the fight, but I guess right behind Mayweather in his entourage when they were walking out was that creepy Burger King mascot, which is just this king who is
the Burger King, right?
The Burger King, some really creepy, freaky looking thing. And so people started wondering how much Burger King paid Mayweather to allow the Burger King to walk out with you. I guess it was about $1 million. They forked over $1 million to Floyd Mayweather to have the king walk out with Mayweather. Now, that's fine. I get that. I guess it makes sense considering the exposure. But if you are Floyd Mayweather, I mean, have you no dignity?
Yeah.
You've got the king behind you walking out. I mean, doesn't that just make you look like a fool, or does he look like a fool to everyone already anyway?
I don't know. I mean, if the fight was paying $30,000 and Burger King wants to give you $1 million to have the Burger King walk out with you, okay, that's one thing, right? You say this is drastically changing what my payday is.
But he made over $100 million.
If your payday is $120 million, do you need to say, I'm also going to have a fast food mascot follow me out for $1 million more? Especially when after taxes it would be like $540,000, $550,000 more. I don't know that I would do that if I were Floyd Mayweather, but hey, who is he to turn away $500,000 if that's what he wants to take home from it?
I think he's probably saving all of that to for legal battles in the future. Yeah. I guess he thinks he needs it. If he has to give away $10 million here, $20 million there, settlements, defense, spending millions on legal defense, legal counsel. Hey. All of that is possible. So I guess you gotta get it while the getting's good. Like I said, they're getting older. But anyway, Burger King.
Quick announcement, Louis, if I may.
Yeah,
we are going to be over the next, let's see, so it's Thursday. Between tonight and Sunday, we are in preparation for all of the stuff that's happening with the expansion of the show. Our website server is really just not cutting it anymore. It's really old and we want to make some changes to it. And in order to make some changes to the website, we need to move our website to a new server. So we're working with a migration expert in this field. We're going to migrate the server as well as all of the bonus show files and all of that stuff to a new physical server. All of the addresses will stay the same, davidpakman.com, the passwords, all that stuff. But there can be a period of up to 72 hours where you may be trying to access the old server, but the files have been moved to the new server. In any case, if there's any tech issues between now and Sunday, there's no new password. There really isn't anything wrong. It's just that it can take up to 72 hours for this process to happen. So if any issues come up, give it until the Monday show. If you're still having an issue, then write in. But I predict 99% of any issues that come up will just be related to this transition and they will sort themselves out.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.